Instead, he had said that we had made great sense and told him things he hadn't known before. That had been astonishing enough, but then on the tape, he had invited us to come in to the bank and discuss getting loans. We still found it hard to believe, but the next week, we actually did that. Before long, 8 of us from Taprana had loans for our rickshaws. It's the first time any man from here has ever owned one himself. Although I still find it a bit strange to deal with the bank, we are learning that there are many things we can do for ourselves once we know how to go about it. This trip this morning is to the same bank that gave us the loans for our rickshaws. Now our new co-ops do business there too. The secretary is going to pick up 6,000 rupees that will be divided among all the dairy co-op members at the ceremony tomorrow. That's more than I could earn working every day for a year. The fact that we even have the co-op is another example of how the videotape has helped us. Farmers in Taprana had always sold their milk to buyers from the city who come to pick it up on motorcycles. Selling milk is important for our farmers to live, but they had never had any control over what they were paid or how their milk was handled. They were cheated in price and their milk was always watered down by the buyers. The men from the Dairy Institute knew that in some other villages, farmers had done something about the same problems as we faced by setting up dairy cooperatives. It would have been impossible for all of us to go to that village to see for ourselves, but the Canadians said they had used videotape in other places to bring villagers together. So we did that. Farmers just like ours from another village taught us on videotape how to market for ourselves and how to produce good quality milk. I was at the first screening of those tapes in Taprana along with Bhulan and many other farmers from our village. I go to all the screenings here, even those with groups that are not my own, because I'm interested in everything that goes on. So I remember very well how those screenings started the farmers in different groups in this village thinking about forming their own cooperative. Bhulan was one of the first to see how much sense it would make to get rid of our dependence on the milk peddlers. He understood that he would have to work with all the other farmers in the village. That is unusual in itself because Bhulan is from the scheduled caste, the lowest group in this village. Normally he would only associate with others of his own group, but he is a man who works hard and thinks a lot. So he, along with some other men, pushed for all our dairy farmers to get together. From the very first day, Bhulan sold all his milk to the co-op and he is on the board of directors, even though most of the other farmers are from other groups. When the farmers take their milk to the co-op each morning, it is tested and they get paid for the quality that they bring. The farmers who belong to the co-op are getting a lot more for their milk than they were ever paid before. In addition to selling the milk, the co-op is now also making paneer and selling it in the city at a high price. We are only small and poor still, but we have seen now that we can make things better for ourselves if we can get information that we understand. And that is one of the ways in which videotape is so helpful. It's almost like a new reading and writing for those like us who can do neither. Improving our earnings is only one of the problems we have. There are still lots of others, and we know we can only earn anything if we are healthy. I dread the thought of becoming ill, but there is much sickness in the village. Many people have tuberculosis. Nearly all of us have malaria at some time during the year. Until videotape began to be used, we did not know very much about taking care of ourselves. We didn't know that a lot of things in the village helped to make us sick. For instance, all over the village there are malaria pools, and unless we get rid of them, malaria will always be with us. We learned that and many other things about health from videotapes that workers showed us. Since we started to help ourselves, we are finding other people are helping us too. Take medical care. A group of doctors from a clinic some kilometers away got interested in what was happening in this village. Through our community workers, the doctors saw us on videotape and learned of our health problems. Now doctors come every week. It is the same in several other villages in this area. Our community worker sometimes goes with the doctors to the other villages, and when he comes back, he tells us what happens there. It's no different than what happens here. Until these doctors started visiting villages like ours, the only medical help we could get would be by going to clinics in the city. We had 3 quacks who visited our village to deal with our health problems, but they knew nothing and had no training. Now for the first time, we can get the proper medicine we need from the doctors when they come. It has made a big difference. But the doctors don't just treat us for sickness we have. They try to teach us how to take care of ourselves so we won't get sick so often. Our community workers have helped the doctors make videotapes so that we can understand better the things they are telling us. And do you know what is so amazing? They are actually using videotapes made in Taprana about tuberculosis and childcare and malaria to help people in other villages. I was proud when I learned of that. It is not often that people like us think we can help other people. 2 years ago, we would have laughed if anybody had told us we could help doctors. But videotape has shown us different. Our workers have told us that the tapes made in our village are really helping people in other villages to learn to take better care of their health. The videotapes that the doctors and our community worker have made with us on health and child care and other matters concerning running a household have been specially helpful to the women in Taprana. My wife goes to see them at the program for women that the visiting lady community workers have. Those ladies come a long way at their own expense to help us, and the only pay they get is our thanks. My wife agrees that videotapes like these are the best way to learn because they are made with people who speak the way we speak, in language we can understand, and we can see them doing things we can understand too. It's different from trying to teach us things on radio. It usually has long speeches in words we cannot understand. And you know, since most of us cannot read and write, nothing printed teaches us anything. That's how videotapes are different, and we talk about them a lot. You can see that there are many rickshaws here in the city and competition is heavy. You have to keep moving all the time to make it pay. If I'm lucky in the evening, I get someone to take back to my village. Sometimes when I'm waiting for business, I get to think about the changes that are happening in the village and how nearly everyone seems happy about them. I also get to think about how much more we have to learn and to do. But I'm encouraged by how far we have come since those men first visited and since that first tape we made. I guess the biggest change is that now we know that we can do things for ourselves. Videotape hasn't done these things, we have done them. But videotape has helped us learn how to do them and given the confidence we needed. We don't think we could have learned so well any other way. Today is going to be a little different for me. I won't stay in the city, but will return to my village with the secretary as soon as he has taken the money from the bank. He has a lot to do before tomorrow, and I think I want to be in Taprana for the rest of the day, for there will be lots going on getting ready for tomorrow. We are all waiting and wondering what tomorrow will be like. The only thing that's certain is that it will not be like any day we ever knew before in our village. We have so few celebrations here. In my whole life, I can only remember weddings. Except for weddings, this is one of the very few times I've ever seen our Taprana band. When they play, you know something really big is going on. The headman from the National Dairy Research Institute came, and it was the first time such an important person in dairying had ever been here. He spoke words of praise, and that pleased us. Our friends from the Dairy Institute and from Canada were there too, and we were glad to see them and to learn they would continue to work with us. I noticed today that there were men from other villages who will have stories to tell at home tonight. Stories of something good that's happening in Taprana. Who would have thought 2 years ago that anybody would want to learn anything about farming from Taprana? But they are now asking for information in other villages about how we got our vegetable producers co-op going and how to get a dairy co-op started. And we are making videotape here now to show them how we did those things. We have always been regarded as the poorest and the worst of village around here, but that is certainly changing fast now. I believe for every one of our farmers who stepped up to get